Jack Mercer hated London traffic more than anything. At 3:16 p.m. he weaved his delivery bike between rows of angry drivers near Piccadilly Circus, sweat gathering under his helmet while his dispatcher yelled through his earpiece, "Jack, where are you?" 2 minutes away. He lied. A bus horn blasted beside him. Pedestrians flooded the crossing ahead. A cyclist nearly clipped him from the side. Normal London chaos. Then the sound began. A low hum, deep, mechanical, wrong. At first, Jack thought it was construction noise somewhere nearby, but the vibration seemed to come from everywhere at once. The pavement, the air, even inside his chest. He slowed slightly. People around him continued moving, unaware. A giant digital billboard above the street flicked to 3:17 p.m. And the world stopped, instantly. No explosion, no warning. A woman crossing the road froze mid-step. A pigeon hung motionless in the air, beside a street lamp. Raindrops remained suspended inches from the pavement like tiny crystals. Even the sound vanished. No traffic, no voices, nothing. Jack nearly crashed his bike. He stumbled off, staring around in disbelief. "Hello." His own voice sounded unnaturally loud. Nobody moved. A man stood frozen while laughing into his phone. A cyclist balanced impossibly without falling. A child remained, suspended halfway off a skateboard. Jack slowly approached the nearest pedestrian and waved a hand in front of her face. Nothing. He touched her shoulder, rigid, like a paused video.
Hey!
A cold wave of panic crawled through him. "Hey! Somebody!" No response. The entire city had become a photograph. Then he saw it. In the reflection of a dark shop window behind him, something moved. A tall shape crossing the street. Jack spun around. Nothing there. His breathing quickened. The hum returned faintly beneath the silence. He began walking through the frozen streets, disbelief slowly turning into fear. Cars remained, stopped inches before collisions. Steam hung motionless above food carts. A police siren glowed silently in the distance. London looked dead. By nightfall, the city became terrifying. Without people moving, every shadow felt alive. Jack entered a convenience store, searching for water and a flashlight. The automatic doors stood frozen, half open. He grabbed supplies with trembling hands. Then, clang! Something fell in the next aisle. Jack froze. Who's there? Silence. He slowly stepped between the shelves. At the far end of the aisle stood a figure, too tall, too thin. Its outline shifted unnaturally like static, trying to become human. Jack couldn't make out its face. The figure remained completely still. Jack blinked once. It vanished. He backed away immediately and ran from the store. Outside, the city somehow felt even quieter. The hum grew louder again. Jack hurried into the underground station near Leicester Square, hoping maybe someone else was alive below the streets. The station lights flickered weakly overhead. Passengers stood frozen on escalators like statues. A violin player remained paused mid-performance. Jack descended carefully toward the platform. Then a burst of static echoed through the station. A radio inside a security office crackled to life. "You shouldn't be awake." Jack rushed toward it. Who said that? Only static answered. Then the distorted voice returned. "It sees you now." Jack stared at it in horror. A metallic footstep echoed somewhere behind him. Slow, heavy. He turned toward the platform. One of the frozen passengers had moved. Its head now faced directly toward him. Jack's stomach dropped. That wasn't possible. Another metallic step echoed through the tunnel. Closer, Jack ran. He sprinted through the station and burst into a security room filled with surveillance monitors. Most screens showed frozen streets across London, but one screen moved. A dark figure walked through the city at impossible speed, appearing on different cameras seconds apart, searching. Another monitor displayed an abandoned laboratory. A recording played automatically. A scientist appeared on screen, exhausted and terrified. "If anyone is seeing this," the scientist said, "the pause has already begun." Static interrupted briefly. "It only happens when they find a compatible mind." The scientist looked directly into the camera. "If you're awake, they found you." Jack slowly stepped backward. The world hadn't stopped randomly. It had stopped because of him. Suddenly every monitor glitched at once. The figure appeared on every screen simultaneously, standing still, watching him. The lights exploded overhead. Jack ran into the streets again. Piccadilly Circus glowed above him with giant frozen advertisements, while the empty roads stretched endlessly in every direction. Every screen suddenly flickered together. For a split second, Jack saw the same symbol appear across all of them. A circle inside another circle, then darkness. The figure now stood at the opposite end of the street, closer than before. Its limbs bent slightly wrong, like something wearing a human shape incorrectly. Jack turned and sprinted home. By the time he reached his apartment, his hands shook uncontrollably. He slammed the door shut and shoved furniture against it. Silence filled the room. Then his television turned on by itself. Static flooded the screen. Slowly a face formed inside the distortion. Not human. "You heard us," it said. Jack stepped backward. "What are you?" The face twitched unnaturally. The filter." The room vibrated softly with the hum. "Your species grows too quickly," the entity continued. "Too loud, too unaware." Jack could barely speak. "What do you want from me?" We search for the ones who can perceive us." The lights flickered violently.
"You opened the door."
Darkness swallowed the apartment. Jack heard something move behind him, a wet clicking sound. He turned slowly. The entity stood inside the room now, tall enough for its head to bend against the ceiling. Its face constantly shifted between human expressions that never fully formed. Jack bolted from the apartment and sprinted up the building staircase toward the rooftop. The city spread endlessly below him when he reached the top. Frozen, silent, dead. The entity emerged from the stairwell behind him.
When time
resumes, it said calmly, "you will forget." Jack stared at it.
Why show me any of this?
"Then why show me any of this?"
Because
The creature tilted its head. "Because you noticed us?" It reached forward and touched his forehead. Instantly, Jack saw impossible things. Cities frozen beneath alien skies. Ancient civilizations standing motionless in deserts. Entire worlds paused in silence. Human history repeating endlessly like a loop. Then he understood. This had happened before, many times. Déjà vu, dreams, instincts, echoes from previous pauses. The entity's voice filled his mind. "Your species mistakes the memory for imagination." White light exploded around him. Jack gasped. Noise slammed back into existence. Traffic roared, people shouted, birds scattered overhead. London moved again, everything normal. Jack stood in the middle of the street near Piccadilly Circus, exactly where he had been before. His phone buzzed violently. "Jack!" His dispatcher snapped through the earpiece. "Are you asleep?" Jack looked around desperately. Nobody reacted. Nobody remembered. Then he noticed 3 strangers standing across the road. All 3 stared directly at him, perfectly still. One of them smiled, and for a brief second their face distorted into something inhuman before blending back into the crowd.